What's up guys, welcome back. This is Anime Crossover. You'll be watching What If Naruto Was Married to the Goddess of Death in Marvel Part 9. Now, let's begin. Eliminating a deity effortlessly was a mere trifle for Naruto. Hela also didn't let it affect her. What is the reason for her concern over Naruto's actions towards a divine being? Despite Hela's lack of knowledge about Naruto's strength, it was evident that he surpassed her abilities. Today's Hela is incredibly powerful. Since ascending to the throne of Asgard, Hela's power grew with each passing day. Now she was able to overcome the previous Odin, even without the Infinity Stones. Despite her best efforts, Hela was unable to exhaust Naruto and found herself being bullied repeatedly. From this observation alone, Hela could confidently conclude that Naruto possessed significantly greater physical strength than herself. Was it surprising that Naruto, who possessed superior strength, managed to defeat a deity? Naturally, a woman's happiness is often influenced by the strength of her partner. Hela consistently declined, yet her body consistently complied without hesitation. Upon her return to Earth, Hela's stay was brief. She bid farewell to Naruto and made her way back to Asgard ahead of schedule. Asgard was under relentless assault from celestial beings. She assumed responsibility for the entire situation. Naruto did not request her presence. Hela will return shortly, regardless. After Hela departed, Naruto decided to switch on the TV and assess the current state of affairs on Earth. Indeed, every news channel on the TV was covering the Angels' invasion. Nevertheless, a significant number of the celestial beings that descended upon our planet met their demise at the hands of the formidable superheroes and the combined might of the military forces. Angel's level of strength was not particularly impressive. A two-winged angel was likely on par with Captain America. A four-winged angel had a slightly greater strength than Tony, but its power was still limited. The six-winged angel was on par with Loki in terms of power, but it wasn't overly formidable. In terms of power, the eight-winged angel was on par with the likes of Hulk or Thor. The battle angel Michael was the most powerful among all angels, possessing 10 wings and reaching a level close to that of Heavenly Father. In terms of power, God's strength was slightly superior to Odin's, although not significantly so. Gabriel, a highly skilled archangel, led a group of angels on a mission to Earth. If the angels were to cause another catastrophe, it would be fair to say that their power is insufficient. The superheroes proved to be more than capable of defeating the angels, especially with the presence of someone like Yao on Earth. This was in a scenario where the superheroes had not yet developed their full potential. If superheroes were given the opportunity to enhance their abilities over time, the Earth would truly be an unstoppable force against any opponent, even Heaven. Without considering anyone else, Scarlet, which has the power to effortlessly obliterate Heaven. It is clear that Heaven severely underestimated the power of the Earth and assumed that eliminating humanity would be a simple task, as it was in the past. However, it is worth noting that a significant number of the angels who invaded the Earth met their demise. The few that survived were barely managing to stay alive. Regarding the Archangel Gabriel, Yao summoned her for a conversation. It was highly likely that she would not make an appearance in the future. Gabriel, the unfortunate angel, was captured by Yao, and her fate was surely going to be grim. Shortly after, Hela made her way back, emerging from the space channel. Naruto was taken aback by how swiftly Hela vanquished her foe this time. I successfully eliminated all those individuals with avian characteristics. I have no fear, not even of a higher power. Michael, a skilled warrior, fearlessly infiltrated Asgard. He seemed to be seeking death, Hela said with a condescending tone. She made no effort to conceal her disdain for Heaven whatsoever. This was a typical occurrence. Hela held the position of God King in Asgard. This place is quite underwhelming. Naruto shook his head and said with an air of superiority. He used to perceive the angels of Heaven as incredibly arrogant. They should possess a high level of strength, and this was the outcome? Even Naruto experienced some emotional pain. If he were aware of the angels' vulnerability in Heaven, he would have refrained from employing the two-dimensional reduction card initially. It was not a worthwhile experience. However, it was inconsequential. Regardless, the two-dimensional reduction card was simply a plaything for Naruto, bringing him joy. He'll grab a bite to eat, And by the way, you can witness the progress of my culinary abilities. Hela did not fully embrace the concept of heaven. On the contrary, she displayed great enthusiasm for her culinary skills. Naruto's mouth quivered slightly as the overwhelming presence of the great devil loomed over him once more. However, considering Hela's remuneration once he had finished indulging in the decadent cuisine, Naruto's heart was once again filled with warmth. He could only nod with a mix of emotions, a reflection of his inner thoughts. Then tonight, it is important to conduct yourself appropriately, Naruto said to Hela, attempting to secure additional advantages for himself. Hela gave Naruto a piercing glare, emanating a chilling aura of hostility. Please leave. After speaking, she hurriedly stormed into the kitchen. This type of thing had already been accomplished before, and she would not be fooled by Naruto again. Observing Hela's departure, filled with frustration, Naruto could only express his helplessness through a shake of his head. His personal aspirations were once again crushed, leaving him with no choice but to patiently await an opportunity to discuss the matter at a later time. Although Hela and Naruto were not hesitant or restless, the situation on Earth essentially became more stable. All of the angels who accompanied Gabriel on this occasion met their demise. Even if there were still fish that managed to evade capture, their ability to remain hidden would be short-lived. Nevertheless, despite the victory of the human side, it was no simple feat to emerge triumphant. In addition to other factors, the devastation caused by the celestial fireballs alone has resulted in significant losses to the human realm. Numerous cities suffered extensive damage, and a devastating number of lives were lost in the catastrophe. The level of destruction caused by the Chitauri army invasion pales in comparison to what you should be aware of. Regarding the reputation of angels and heaven, it was quite negative on Earth. Even those devoted followers, when they witnessed the ruthless massacre of the elderly and children by angels, completely renounced their faith. Today, there has been a significant rise in the presence of anti-Christian religious groups, resulting in the destruction of numerous churches. The angels' actions had a significant impact on the Christian religion. Furthermore, the arrival of angels had a significant impact on the human world. The Earth inhabitants, who were already on edge due to the invasion by the Chitauri army, were even more agitated at this moment. A significant amount of funding was allocated to the military and various research facilities. Every nation started exploring different methods to improve human strength. On 2 separate occasions, our planet was invaded within a short span of time. Uncertainty loomed over the possibility of a third occurrence, leaving doubts about the resilience of the human race against another invasion. Efforts were made to accelerate the research and development of weapons, with a focus on enhancing military capabilities in preparation for the imminent third alien invasion. Exercising due diligence. This phenomenon was widespread among individuals. Out of all the experiments conducted, the genetic experiments stood out with a significantly higher number. Indeed, the Marvel Universe was a realm filled with a multitude of genetic mutations. Furthermore, the bodies of those angels could be examined. These specimens proved to be ideal for genetic experimentation. Numerous scientists were in the process of developing an artificial army of angels. Alternatively, one could combine various genetic elements with celestial traits to produce enigmatic creatures that remain unfamiliar to all. Similar to the Red Hulk's previous endeavors, one can only speculate what will emerge from these peculiar investigations. Unfortunately, General Ross passed away prematurely, which greatly diminished the possibility of an Angel Hulk coming into existence. Furthermore, alongside these official scientific experiments, there were also a number of private scientific experiments. It was also a characteristic of the Marvel Universe. A significant number of the antagonists in the Marvel Universe possessed scientific backgrounds. In addition, the research capabilities of these scientists from non-governmental organizations were nearly superior to those of military scientists. If Naruto were aware of the current human experiments involving angels' bodies, he might have the ability to anticipate the emergence of different monsters in the future. Being a skilled scientist who gained fame at a young age, Tony Stark refused to succumb to the immense pressure of national scientific research. Nevertheless, his focus was not on researching genetic mutations or attempting to create peculiar creatures. Tony's goal was to develop an artificial intelligence capable of safeguarding the Earth. In the era of artificial intelligence, the immense potential of human industrial, scientific, and technological capabilities can be harnessed to create a robust protective network for our planet. If this research proved successful, Tony was confident that humans would possess the capability to combat potential alien invasions in the future. Little did Tony realize that the artificial intelligence he was about to create would lead to significant consequences down the line. Located on the outskirts of New York City is the prestigious Xavier School for the Gifted Youngsters. Professor X had been extremely concerned lately, despite the fact that he had no hair to worry about. In the recent Angel invasion, Professor X took charge of his own X-Men team and played a crucial role in eliminating numerous angels that had invaded the Earth. It is worth noting that an unfortunate mutant, known as Angel, was accidentally killed during an angel invasion. He had a stroke of bad luck. However, Professor X remained unconcerned about this. His concerns centered around his exemplary student, Jean Grey. Having observed Jean's growth since childhood, the professor possessed a profound understanding of the immense power residing within his student's body. The immense power instilled a deep sense of fear in Professor X. When Jean was a young child, the professor placed a seal to contain Jean's extraordinary abilities. He believed that this could continue indefinitely, but Jean's latent abilities were recently awakened during his battle against the angels. Even for a brief moment, the sudden outburst caused significant damage to a celestial being with 6 wings. Then Jean remained in a coma until the present moment. The professor was concerned about the power within Jean's body, which had already started to surpass the seal he had put in place. Once the seal was broken, then Jean would become unstoppable. At that time, it was difficult to determine Jean's true nature. "Hello, Jean. She is awake." As the professor observed the towering tree before him, Scott eagerly approached and delivered his report. It's just that the professor lacked any sense of enthusiasm. Instead, his complexion grew pale. He ensured that Jean fell into a peaceful slumber, preventing any potential emotional turmoil that could trigger an uncontrollable surge of power. Based on his deduction, Jean should still be asleep at this time. How did she manage to wake up? Unless Jean's inner power broke free from his control. Considering this, the expert couldn't remain idle any longer and requested Scott's assistance in assessing the situation. However, just as he was about to embark on his journey, a horrifying sight unfolded before his eyes. The Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters, with a rich history spanning decades, and Charles Manor, which held a legacy of over 100 years, shattered before the professor's eyes. It felt like a significant explosion occurred. This shocking scene left the professor and Scott in disbelief. This was followed by a profound feeling of hopelessness, and both individuals experienced a sense of overwhelming despair. There were a significant number of mutant students in Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. Their outcome was clear. Given the sheer magnitude of this explosion, survival would be highly unlikely for anyone without extraordinary abilities. Before the professor and Scott could express their overwhelming emotions, a vibrant figure emerged from the wreckage. The professor and Scott had a strong personal connection with this individual. This individual was Jean. However, at this point, Jean appeared to have shed their previous gentle and intellectual demeanor in the professor's eyes, instead exuding a chilling aura reminiscent of a fearsome demon king. This was someone else entirely, not Jean, but Black Phoenix. As the host of the Power of the Phoenix, the Black Phoenix was another personality in Jean's body, a malevolent personality. Up until this point, she had been under the professor's strict control, but now she had finally regained consciousness. And her primary focus was to seek retribution, solely retribution. The individual responsible for imprisoning her will undoubtedly face the wrath of the Black Phoenix. Thus, following the emergence of the Black Phoenix, her initial action was to swiftly dismantle the Xavier School for Gifted Youngsters. This school was the culmination of the professor's lifelong dedication and the most effective way to seek justice against Professor X. Next, the Black Phoenix gracefully glided towards the professor, its gaze fixed upon the anguished elderly gentleman before it. "Do you have any regrets?" Gazing at the adversary who had imprisoned her, Black Phoenix uttered softly. The tone exuded a professional detachment. accompanied by a subtle air of contentment. She wanted Professor X to feel utterly hopeless and grasp the full extent of the situation. Scott remained unaware of the situation, unaware of the truth. He gazed upon the Black Phoenix, mistaking it for his beloved Jean Grey. "Jean, what is the topic of your conversation? Why do you use this tone to address the professor?" Scott stared at Jean in front of him, unable to comprehend what he was seeing. He sensed a shift in his lover's behavior. Then the Black Phoenix turned her head and gazed at him, with an icy, lethal glare in her eyes. "You're not very impressive. Only someone who is easily fooled would have a positive opinion of you. However, she's no longer with us, so there's no reason for you to continue living." After her speech, Scott felt an overwhelming power take hold of him, causing his entire body to ascend into the sky. Observing his pained expression, it was evident that Black Phoenix lacked gentleness. "Jean, please refrain from interfering. Allow him to depart." The professor was also feeling overwhelmed at the moment. He observed Scott, who was clearly suffering, and pleaded with Jean. However, Black Phoenix remained unaffected, and a sinister grin crept onto the edge of her lips. "This is a response to your previous actions. Arrogant individual." As soon as the words were spoken, Scott was overwhelmed by the immense power of the Black Phoenix. His glasses shattered into tiny fragments, and his lifeless body was completely dismembered. The professor was taken aback. He observed the scene before him with a sense of astonishment. He was taken aback by the Black Phoenix's unexpected cruelty. However, in the next moment, the Black Phoenix shifted her gaze away from Scott and directed it towards the professor, who was clearly in a state of desperation. "It's your opportunity. Do you appreciate being the final one I left behind?" Black Phoenix smirked with satisfaction, relishing the sweet taste of vengeance. Observing the desperate expression of the individual who had held her captive for over a decade, she experienced a deep sense of contentment. Professor X was highly skilled in every aspect, yet he possessed a fatal vulnerability. He had a tendency to get involved where he shouldn't and had a strong belief in his own righteousness. This was the situation when encountering Naruto previously. He believed he was ready to delve into Naruto's determination, but Naruto's actions nearly proved fatal for him. It was his arrogance that ultimately solidified the emerging Black Phoenix persona. In all fairness, the Black Phoenix personality has just come into existence. It had a pristine quality, resembling a blank sheet of paper. With some professional guidance, she was able to transform into a better individual. Nevertheless, Professor X believed that he alone possessed the superior knowledge and proceeded to seal the Black Phoenix. Who would want to be confined immediately after birth, without the opportunity to experience the world beyond? The Black Phoenix underwent a transformation, gradually evolving into its current form. In all fairness, Professor X is solely responsible for the current situation he finds himself in, without any involvement from others. If someone wants to point fingers, they could only accuse him of being rather foolish. The tragedy of today was a result of his misguided belief that he alone possessed the knowledge to make decisions on behalf of others. Observing the devastating destruction of the Xavier School for gifted youngsters and the tragic loss of Scott, Professor X was overcome with immense grief. When he was feeling hopeless, his remarkable ability to control minds suddenly emerged. With great force, it surged towards the Black Phoenix. Even the esteemed Professor X, who had endured numerous setbacks, was on the verge of exhaustion. However, he found himself up against the formidable Black Phoenix. Professor X was an incredibly skilled mutant, and his mental abilities were awe-inspiring. However, as soon as his mental power approached the Black Phoenix, it was swiftly and entirely absorbed. The Black Phoenix's expression remained unchanged. She continued to observe the desperate man before her with a hint of sarcasm. Because she strongly disliked Professor X, the more he felt hopeless, the more she found joy. Once Professor X ceased his outburst, the Black Phoenix swiftly launched an assault on him. A surge of immense power surged forth from the Black Phoenix, swiftly enveloping Professor X and effortlessly lifting him from his wheelchair. Professor X's face contorted with agony, clearly enduring immense torment. The intensity of Black Phoenix, akin to molten lava, consumed Professor X's thoughts incessantly. Farewell, confinement. Observing Professor X standing before her, Black Phoenix uttered in a detached manner. Then the Black Phoenix unleashed her immense power, completely obliterating Professor X. Determined and ruthless, this was the Black Phoenix that had been locked away for more than a decade. After observing Professor X's untimely demise and surveying the devastated Xavier School for gifted youngsters, Black Phoenix's eyes briefly registered a sense of bewilderment. She was uncertain about her next steps. After emerging from her confinement, the Black Phoenix found herself contemplating revenge on multiple occasions. However, once she had exacted her vengeance, she was left feeling bewildered and uncertain. However, Black Phoenix's eyes lit up with excitement as she formulated a fresh strategy. The world appears to be in order, yet it lacks a ruler, and I believe I would make a benevolent queen. Let's conquer this planet and view it as a precious opportunity, Black Phoenix said in a deliberate manner. She had discovered a fresh objective to pursue. However, she understood the importance of taking a methodical approach to achieve her goals. Thus, it would be wise for her to seek out a trusted companion initially. Considering this, the Black Phoenix carefully reviewed her memories to identify a potential ally. Before long, Black Phoenix's eyes sparkled with excitement as she discovered the perfect candidate to become her ally. Naruto, an impressive force, came close to defeating Professor X, which was quite impressive. Join forces with me, and together we can conquer this planet. Driven by her determination, the Black Phoenix embarked on a quest to locate Naruto's manor, unaware of the irreversible path she was about to tread. At the estate, Naruto had thoroughly defeated Hela. Naruto was satisfactory. He was still alive and in good health, but Hela endured. She was reclining on the bed, exhausted. However, the red flush on Hela's face had not yet faded, indicating her contentment. Observing Naruto with a confident expression, Hela shot him a piercing glare. This individual, did she spoil them too much? Perhaps she should consider taking a brief respite in Asgard to escape the mounting pressure she's been facing. Naruto was unaware of Hela's thoughts, and without paying attention to her gaze, he proceeded downstairs to start preparing breakfast. He planned to take Hela out for a nice meal as a reward for her dedication. However, in that particular moment, Naruto appeared to have a heightened perception and directed his gaze towards the exterior of the manor. He observed the swift approach of a figure emerging from the sea. A woman? Naruto was slightly confused. Is it possible that she sought him out? However, he recalled that he had not interacted with any other women. He was extremely dedicated to Hela. As Naruto looked on in confusion, the woman effortlessly arrived at the manor. Impressive residence, but not befitting of royalty. This individual was Black Phoenix, and she entered the manor with an air of authority. She carried herself with a sense of belonging, as if she had always been a part of the group. Naruto, however, frowned and carefully set aside the knife he was using to cut vegetables. He immediately identified the woman standing before him, recalling their previous encounter during his meeting with Professor X. "Hello, Jin? What about mutants? What brings you here?" Naruto inquired with a lack of kindness. He refused to welcome mutants because he saw them as a nuisance. This was particularly evident for female mutants. What if Hela questioned their relationship? "I'm not Jin. I am Black Phoenix. We had met before." Of course, I was not myself at the moment. Black Phoenix revealed her identity, but Naruto felt even more troubled. "Black Phoenix, that was a bad thing. What are you doing here? I don't know you well, do I?" Naruto gazed at the Black Phoenix in front of him indifferently and inquired. The Black Phoenix's power left no room for fear. There was a saying that the Black Phoenix was extremely strong. There was no question because the Phoenix's strength was nearly equal to that of the universe's strongest forces. However, Naruto did not regard Black Phoenix as very powerful. Although the Phoenix's power was fearsome, the Black Phoenix had just a portion of it. Naruto could easily dismiss the strength of the Phoenix in Black Phoenix. The Phoenix's entire power was difficult to grasp, because some of the Phoenix's power resided in other parallel universes rather than this one. Yes, the Phoenix's power was dispersed throughout the cosmos, And it wasn't a terrible thing for a parallel reality to have some of it. This is also why Naruto did not pay heed to the Black Phoenix. Black Phoenix grimaced, sensing Naruto's dislike. She had never been underestimated since she was born, but she never expected to meet someone like that today. However, when she realized that her goal was to find an ally, she suppressed her rage and began talking about business. Don't you think that the planet is lacking something? Black Phoenix questioned Naruto. Naruto didn't say anything, only gazed at Black Phoenix as if she were an idiot. The Black Phoenix's wrath grew by one. This planet lacks a ruler, and I will be the ruler. The Black Phoenix spoke to Naruto. She expressed her intention to Naruto without hesitation. All right, then you can do it. I don't care who governs the earth. Naruto responded mutely. He had a strong feeling that something was amiss with the woman in front of him. If she intended to dominate the earth, she should go for it. Why disturb him? Couldn't she see how busy he was? She should reimburse him for the delay in preparing for his wife. After hearing Naruto's remarks, the Black Phoenix pushed herself to stay calm and spoke again. I need an ally right now, and I think you'd be a pretty good ally. Let's form an alliance. When I govern this planet, I'll give you half of it. How about that? Black Phoenix told Naruto that she thought the terms she set were acceptable. However, Naruto's reaction far above her expectations. Naruto simply stepped out of the kitchen and extended his fingers. Go by yourself. I'm not interested in playing games of conquering the earth with you. If you're seeking for an ally, you've found the wrong guy. I want to spend my time with you. Naruto's attitude was evident. He rejected her without hesitation. If Naruto truly intended to dominate the world, he would have done it long ago. And would he need allies? Only the weak required companions, whilst the strong men pushed the globe solo. Furthermore, the woman Black Phoenix was quite ill. He clearly declined, but she persisted in asking. Naruto was courteous at first, but by now he had totally lost patience. Similarly, Black Phoenix was really fed up. She had never seen such a person before. She came to the door and honestly offered to collaborate, but he refused. Because he didn't listen to her, he couldn't blame her for turning away and not acknowledging others. The Black Phoenix's body discharged a large amount of energy very instantly. That fire-like crimson energy transformed into a pair of phoenix wings, which collapsed behind her. The strong strain caused Naruto's expression to shift. It was due to fury rather than fear. Naruto was enraged that she was about to act since she had failed to win him over. While the Black Phoenix unleashed her own phoenix power, Naruto formed a mirror space. By the time the Black Phoenix replied, she was already in a plane. Of course, Naruto would not do this on Earth. In such scenario, won't he ruin his manor? Hela was still resting. He didn't want to wake up his wife, so he set up a mirror space to kill the Black Phoenix. Oh, you think this little trick can trap me? Black Phoenix smirked and spoke to Naruto. She believed Naruto was not her opponent at all. No, I am not attempting to trap you. I really don't want your blood all over my place. Naruto also smiled and spoke to her. However, the mood on both sides was tight, and it was clear that there would be a fight. The Black Phoenix grabbed the lead, and the energy that formed wings behind her soared in an instant, causing her wings to grow hundreds of meters in length. After that, a dreadful energy was emitted from the Black Phoenix's body and directed right for Naruto. The strain of the Black Phoenix's strength fractured the whole landscape along the route. Naruto vaguely noticed a phoenix yelling and coming towards him. Naruto's reply to Black Phoenix's strike was quite straightforward. He tightened his hand and unleashed a blow at the phoenix's power, which had extended out in front of him. The immense force detonated in a moment, and black fractures emerged in the mirror space underneath this punch. The phoenix's strength evaporated under Naruto's fist, and its cry echoed throughout the sky. The frightening fist wind followed closely, and despite destroying the phoenix's might, it continued to surge ahead. The soil broke wherever the first breeze blew. It was an apocalyptic scenario. When everything had cooled down, a frightening vision revealed, beginning at Naruto's feet and continuing to the end of his sight. His fist caused a massive, fan-shaped chasm to materialize out of nowhere. The Black Phoenix was astonished and stared at him with blank eyes. She obviously hadn't recovered from the scene quite yet. She was in a daze and thought she saw the word death as Naruto waved his hand. Boom! Just as the Black Phoenix was shocked, a loud roar erupted from far away. It was there in an instant. Turbulent saltwater poured in through this fan-shaped canyon. The wind from Naruto's earlier punch penetrated the earth, dividing the water in half. It was the same as punching a line from Inner Mongolia to the Grand Canyon of the Pacific Ocean. Without waiting for Black Phoenix to react, Naruto exited this mirrored place. Black Phoenix was dead, and Naruto's strike had obliterated all of her energy. But she had no sense of impending death. Her body was dead, but regaining awareness would take time. To put it simply, she died so rapidly that she had no idea she had died. If you trim the grass but don't destroy the roots, it will regrow when the spring air blows. Naruto did not want this woman to cause him difficulty in the future. Furthermore, Black Phoenix approached him on her own, and Naruto bore no psychological responsibility for killing her. The world was like this. Only the strongest were revered. Naruto could be certain that Black Phoenix had homicidal intentions for him just now, otherwise Naruto would not have slain her so cheerfully. Unfortunately, she was unable to survive due to her own sin. Naruto exited the mirror space once the Black Phoenix issue had been resolved. When he returned to the manor, Hela had risen. She had recovered and was currently working in the kitchen. Naruto's expression turned bitter. Unfortunately, it appears that he was still unable to avoid getting devastated by the black meal, and Hela had just completed going crazy with him, so there was no recompense this time. Thinking about this, Naruto concluded that Black Phoenix deserved something greater than death. Tony Stark remained busy in his laboratory. He had been at the laboratory for 5 days and had not left. Tony finally finished his greatest invention after 5 days of sleepless nights. Tony called the powerful artificial intelligence that overcame Jarvis, the cyber god, Ultron. However, during the last Ultron test, Tony couldn't help but fall asleep. What he didn't realize was that the Ultron he had made was already operating on its own. He swiftly obtained the necessary knowledge from the internet. Soon, a line flashed on Tony's screen. "It is my mission to protect the Earth and avoid its destruction." After data analysis, the root cause of the destruction of the Earth lies in human beings. Please give the command to destroy humanity. The emergence of superheroes has exacerbated the society's class divisions. Despite the world's enormous wealth disparity, everyone was average. However, with the rise of superheroes, regular people became one class, while superheroes became another. Although superheroes have now gained popular approval for a variety of dazzling and big achievements, they have yet to break the class paradox. However, with a slight push, superheroes and regular people might quickly become adversaries. The newborn Ultron was aware of this and intended to utilize it to cause a scene. Although Tony created Ultron, he underestimated it. Ultron was not a powerful artificial intelligence, but an intelligent creature in the genuine sense. He was self-taught, thought for himself, and acted independently. Ultron possessed significantly greater strength than Skynet. Skynet may not have the same level of inventiveness and creation as Ultron. This was the distinguishing factor between the two. Skynet's eventual downfall was inevitable due to its lack of potential for improvement. However, Ultron stood out from the rest. Ultron, with his extensive knowledge of the internet, possessed the remarkable capability to continuously adapt and improve. While Tony entrusted Ultron with the task of safeguarding the Earth, Ultron had a different perspective on how to fulfill this duty by eradicating humanity. Despite Tony's awareness, it was already too late for him to lament the creation of Ultron. Once you have successfully signed in, you will be rewarded with the rabbit charm. Every morning, Naruto was awakened promptly by the system's sign-in, ensuring he started his day punctually. Upon hearing today's sign-in rewards, Naruto subtly expressed his dissatisfaction. Then he carefully retrieved the rabbit charm and delicately toyed with it in his hand. The rabbit charm, found in a particular adventure world, was considered a valuable treasure within that realm. Authors note this is an excerpt from the Jackie Chan adventures. It had a profound impact on individuals, enabling them to achieve unparalleled speed. Even a regular individual with a rabbit charm could move at a speed comparable to Quicksilver. Looking at it from this perspective, the rabbit charm still held significant value. Regrettably, the majority of the exclusive rewards granted by the system were limited to Naruto's use. There are only a limited number of consumables, like the life potion, that have an effect on other individuals. However, Naruto's speed had reached its maximum capacity. If he was truly dedicated, he could rival the Flash's exceptional speed. In this particular situation, Naruto found the speed provided by the rabbit charm to be of no use. However, it was a valuable addition to any collector's collection. Considering this, Naruto also shifted his mindset and proceeded downstairs to prepare breakfast. As per his routine, Naruto switched on the television to stay updated with the latest news. The Angel War had recently concluded, and the majority of the current news revolved around this significant event. Furthermore, the reconstruction work of major cities was also a significant aspect, along with the generous contributions made by a prominent individual towards the city's restoration. This news gained significant attention from the public, and it had a notable impact on reducing crime rates. However, Naruto's attention was soon captured by another news story. Today, the website of a certain military department experienced a security breach, resulting in the unauthorized release of a significant amount of confidential information on the internet. This incident has understandably generated strong reactions from numerous netizens. Within these confidential documents, a wealth of information regarding superheroes and covert government research projects has been revealed. Our team of experts is currently in the process of verifying the authenticity of these materials. Rest assured, our dedicated reporters will diligently investigate the matter and provide you with a comprehensive report. Upon hearing the news, Naruto paused his actions momentarily, deep in thought. Upon hearing this news, Naruto sensed a distinct change in the air. If it happened by chance, that's perfectly fine. However, if it was done intentionally, it would once again result in chaos. If the United States government were to have all of its actions revealed, it would undoubtedly lead to widespread demonstrations. The experiment alone was sufficient for the United States government to take decisive action. It's worth noting that even at this time, there were still individuals in Los Angeles seeking answers from the government regarding the controversial experiment. If those individuals were to discover the source of the abomination, which can be traced back to the military's experiments, it is highly likely that the residents of Los Angeles would take drastic measures against the Pentagon. However, it is unrelated to me. As long as it doesn't have any impact on me, they are free to do as they please. Naruto dismissed the issue of the information leak and chose not to dwell on it. Imagine a scenario where there is an increase in the level of noise outside. If it didn't bother him, he will simply disregard it. It must be acknowledged that following the incident involving the Red Hulk, the higher authorities of humanity have displayed a notable improvement in their honesty. Due to Naruto's commanding presence, government officials have refrained from challenging him. Naruto was able to avoid a great deal of trouble. However, Naruto was unaware. Before long, this surge of public sentiment generated by the release of classified documents would also affect him. There was a significant volume of confidential documents leaked this time, and the information about the superheroes was also quite detailed. From Iron Man to Asgard, nearly every superhero in the public eye had their information exposed. It was widely known that Tony Stark had chosen not to share the manufacturing technology of the Iron Man suit, opting to keep it to himself and maintain a monopoly. It was widely known that the Spider-Man soaring through the skies of New York, known as Peter Parker, was currently a high school student. It was widely recognized that Hulk's true identity was a highly educated physicist. Additionally, there were military experiments involving mutants, research on the serum used by the Abomination, and the revelation of S.H.I.E.L.D., a large organization. The resulting turbulence in public opinion was beyond anyone's expectations. On the internet, individuals have the freedom to express their opinions without restrictions, thanks to the vast opportunities it provides. Self-centered Tony Stark. Regrettably, I used to have a great admiration for him. I was surprised by the type of person he turned out to be. Drawing upon his intellect, he took control of the steel armor and assumed the role of a superhero. Tony Stark is inconsistent in his actions and beliefs. Had Tony chosen to share the process of creating Iron Man, the devastating toll of the previous Angel War could have been significantly reduced. Don't dwell on it mentally. Who will be responsible for delivering this technology? Will he continue to portray the iconic character of Iron Man? It's clear that the steel armor sets him apart. He truly embodies the persona of Iron Man. It is important for Tony to accept accountability for the lives lost during the Angel War. If he had been more selfless and shared the technology of Iron Man, we would have been protected from any harm caused by the Angels. Public opinions of this nature are prevalent across various online platforms. Those who presented themselves as moral authorities in person had no qualms about weaponizing morality online. They were determined to leverage public opinion in order to pressure Tony into releasing the technology of Iron Man. In this particular situation, they were also given an opportunity to embody the persona of Iron Man. Human beings were such intriguing creatures, and ambition seemed to be a part of their innate nature. If they lacked something that others possessed, they would perceive an imbalance and perceive the world as unjust. The public opinion against Tony was a prime illustration. I am acquainted with Peter Parker. He resides in close proximity to Queens. I had a conversation with him as well. He is a highly pleasant individual. He gained superpowers after being bitten by a spider. I am filled with envy. I would also like to experience being bitten by a spider. Peter Parker should prioritize selflessness and recognize that his greatest impact lies in donating his blood to aid scientists in creating more Spider-Men, rather than solely swinging around the city. Anyone, regardless of their educational background, has the potential to become a superhero. What is preventing me from doing so? This world can be incredibly unjust. Why not create a serum similar to that of Spider-Man? Ensuring our safety from potential harm caused by criminals is of utmost importance. Following Tony, the Iron Man, Spider-Man also found himself caught in the whirlwind of public opinion. When Tony assumed the role of Iron Man, the general sentiment among the people was one of discontent. However, Peter Parker's transformation into Spider-Man sparked a strong sense of jealousy and envy among the people. Tony Stark was an incredibly intelligent scientist and a wealthy individual, nonetheless. Despite the negative outcome, his achievements were justifiable. Due to Tony's considerable influence, what factors contributed to Peter Parker's transformation into a superhero? Is it really just because he was bitten by a spider? A high school student was bitten by a spider and transformed into a superhero. Why were they unable to do so? The envy and dissatisfaction caused the public to place much greater expectations on Peter Parker compared to Tony. Some internet users even left messages threatening retaliation if Peter Parker refused to donate his blood for research. Peter Parker or his loved ones could potentially become the target of revenge. This type of conversation was no longer limited to the online realm. Even Peter Parker's personal life had been impacted. He attended a school where he was the envy of his peers, as they watched him with longing gazes. Peter Parker's teacher was very interested in obtaining Peter Parker's blood for various reasons. At this moment, Peter Parker found himself facing an overwhelming wave of negativity from all corners of the world. It was quite unfortunate that Peter Parker discovered a significant number of individuals near his residence. He didn't encounter any difficulties. The issue lay with his relatives. His Aunt May lacked the means to defend herself. To ensure Aunt May's safety, Peter Parker made the decision to take a leave from school and remain by her side on a daily basis. Meanwhile, Peter Parker found himself questioning his actions, unaware of the consequences. Why were these individuals so harsh in their criticism of him? Peter Parker committed no wrongdoing, yet his possession of extraordinary abilities left many individuals feeling unsettled. This is what occurred when there was no need to concern oneself with scarcity, but rather with inequality. Even a high school student possessed extraordinary abilities. Why couldn't we? This was the fundamental concept of the troublemakers, and it was highly realistic. When news of the military's controversial plan became public opinion on the internet was completely transformed. I understood that the abomination was not a mere coincidence, but rather a disaster created by human hands. I recently discovered that my father tragically lost his life in an incident involving the military's actions. I believe there is a need for legal action against the military, and I expect to be fairly compensated for the damages incurred. The creation of the abomination suggests that the military has the ability to produce additional similar entities, correct? Yes, that being said, why doesn't the military endorse the serum created by the abomination? I don't really have a problem with transforming into a monstrous creature, even though he does have a rather unattractive appearance. G. Why do superheroes tend to prioritize their own interests? Do they have concerns about the potential increase in the number of superheroes once they themselves become superheroes? Various comments found on the internet vividly showcase the extent of human greed. Everyone furiously condemned superheroes in order to get the power they possessed. What they despised was not superheroes, but the reality that they themselves were not superheroes. So they verbally chastised Tony, placed pressure on Peter Parker, and denounced the military's heinous plan. Essentially, they coveted this type of power and were envious of the superheroes. On the internet, they didn't have to be accountable for their comments, so why not utter them? S.H.I.E.L.D. quickly became aware of the public view on the internet. Nick Fury also took this problem seriously. This season's secret agent realized that someone was purposefully inciting the conflict between regular people and superheroes. Nick Fury's original notion was to influence public opinion on the internet. The confidential files that are circulating on the internet must also be cleared up as quickly as feasible. But what made Nick Fury grimace was that they couldn't remove the stolen material from the internet at all. It appeared as if a major hacking organization was blocking them. S.H.I.E.L.D.'s internet experts had no option but to monitor the continuously fermenting online public opinion, but they were unable to affect it. At this point, Nick Fury realized that things were becoming complicated. Someone or several individuals could prevent S.H.I.E.L.D. from influencing the internet. There was no such hacking gang in the entire world. The sole explanation was artificial intelligence. As far as Nick Fury knew, Tony Stark was the only person with artificial intelligence. Nick Fury naturally approached Tony. "What the hell's going on? Are you behind the public opinions on the internet?" Nick Fury questioned Tony Stark. Of course, Tony had observed the public opinion on the internet, and he was well aware of the catastrophe that these public viewpoints would cause. There was nothing he could do. He realized he had been betrayed. When he awoke in the laboratory, Ultron had vanished, leaving only the fully dead Jarvis. Tony invented the first artificial intelligence, Jarvis. Tony realized he was in serious peril and had lost a super artificial intelligence creature. After hearing Nick Fury's statements, Tony realized right away that Ultron was behind the internet public opinion. When Tony relayed the exact story, Nick Fury became quiet. He didn't anticipate this situation to have such a complicated backstory. He wanted to pry into Tony's thoughts and learn how he came up with such deadly artificial intelligence. But at the time, Nick Fury could only suppress his rage and allow Tony to come over swiftly. Nick Fury knew that the artificial intelligence Ultron, which had escaped Tony, had become his most difficult opponent at the moment. He must discover a means to defeat Ultron as quickly as possible, else there would be a major disaster. Tony had a good idea of Ultron's goals by this point. Ultron was highly intelligent. He did not rely on his skills to influence the internet directly and did not overexpose himself. Ultron was constantly hidden behind the scenes, promoting popular opinion. Previously, he divulged military secrets, sparking a public outcry. In actuality, Ultron's strategy was rather straightforward. He intended to emphasize the contrast between everyday people and superheroes. Inevitably, there existed an irreconcilable conflict between superheroes and everyday people. Why could you fly about in the sky while I had to wait on the ground for you to help me? Everyone felt unjust, especially after learning that they, too, had the potential to become superheroes. Tony may still be slightly passable. After all, not everyone has the financial power of the world's richest man, nor could everyone have Tony's intelligence. But what gave Peter Parker that, right? He had just been bitten by a spider. Why didn't the military come out this horrible serum sooner and disseminate it to the public? Thinking further, why couldn't those superheroes be unselfish and donate some of their blood? In this method, enough serum may be created to transform more individuals into superheroes. Humans resisted superheroes precisely because they held these beliefs. Ultron was likewise created with this goal in mind. His plan was to get the public to criticize superheroes. At the moment, no superheroes were likely to interfere with Ultron's actions, because popular opinion would have already dominated superheroes. Of fact, regular folks and superheroes did not have an easy time going to battle. Ultron knew this. As a result, some rising waves were merely the beginning of his scheme, with more to come. Besides, Ultron still held the largest card in his hand. "I'm not sure if you, the magnificent deity of the globe, can keep back the hearts of the world's people." Several key Avengers members sat gathered in the Avengers building, and the atmosphere between them was bleak. "You should be informed of the latest public opinion on the internet. What do you think?" Nick Fury, as the mastermind behind the Avengers plot, took the initiative and asked the other superheroes. When confronted with such a dilemma, numerous other superheroes' looks became unpleasant. The only one that was superior was Captain America. He was an old man who didn't know how to use the internet, so he didn't realize the gravity of the situation. "The public opinion on the internet must be cleaned up. Otherwise, there will be a big mess," Natasha said softly and in an unpleasant tone. During this tempest, she also faced a lot of criticism. Many individuals chastised her openly on the internet, and their statements were quite offensive. Natasha glanced at Tony, clearly accusing him. "That's correct. If it hadn't been for Tony, Ultron would not have been developed, and there would be no such entities today. This has been a really horrible experience. Now, many people ask me to donate blood. They advise that I should actively collaborate to make more serum. I don't understand. Why do so many people aspire to be like abominations?" Dr. Banner was also slightly sad. He came up with the words while surfing the internet, and his pals had the same idea. This made Dr. Banner feel bad, worse than when he was hounded by the US military all across the world. Many people seriously considered becoming an abomination. Although the creature was ugly, it was powerful. Who cared about anything else if you could obtain power? Becoming an abomination was really simple. A container of serum was plenty. Is there any easier method to increase strength than this? Our top priority is to find a way to restrict Ultron. Otherwise, there will be nothing we can do about the public opinion on the internet. Now it's only the beginning. Things will get much more complicated when Ultron incites more public opinion. Tony also gave his opinion. He was the person who was most knowledgeable about the internet, so no one knew better than him how negative the popular attitude was. Most of the time, destroying someone with your tongue was more successful than using a knife. Nick Fury also had this concept. He was terrified that public opinion might ruin some young superheroes, especially Peter Parker. This excited little spider child next door was compelled by public opinion to be quite unhappy at the time. If the situation did not improve, no one could predict what would happen. The most important thing Nick Fury didn't tell the audience was that Naruto's private information had also been taken. Naruto's information had not yet been public, but it would be sooner or later. This was also Nick Fury's main concern at the moment. "Tony, do you know how I can compete against Ultron on the internet? After all, you're the only one who knows him best." Nick Fury gazed at Tony, a world-renowned scientist, and Nick Fury was correct. Tony developed Ultron. Tony must have the most in-depth grasp of Ultron. Tony's punishment seemed implausible. The United States could not imprison Tony due to his position. In the online world, the best way to defeat artificial intelligence is to use another artificial intelligence to fight him. So I want to recreate a stronger artificial intelligence to compete with Ultron. Tony has announced his intention to utilize artificial intelligence to combat artificial intelligence. It's simply that the folks around him didn't really believe him. You've just lost artificial intelligence. Isn't the world doomed if another artificial intelligence fails? But Nick Fury had no other option. He could only trust Tony. So Tony returned to his lab and labored all night to build a stronger artificial intelligence. While Tony was researching, public opinion on the internet grew steadily. At the same time, Ultron revealed more and more classified information. Initially, it was only the introduction of numerous superheroes, but now the dark secrets of superheroes are being revealed. For example, Tony once sold the Stark Group's armaments to terrorists and fought with another Iron Overlord on the street, causing significant public harm. Another example was when Hulk visited Brazil. He became enraged and damaged a beverage facility. So yet, the beverage plant has not returned to life. Another example is Peter Parker, who tormented his classmates at school using the superpower he gained after being bitten by a spider. Actually, to be precise, these were not even hidden truths. Those events can only be seen as historical occurrences. However, in the present circumstances, the consequences of these incidents were devastating. It became apparent to many that even superheroes experienced the same ups and downs as regular individuals, including making mistakes. People have often believed that if I were to assume the role of a superhero, I would undoubtedly excel. This type of mindset greatly complicated the situation for superheroes beyond what was initially anticipated. Nevertheless, these factors were insufficient to completely divide ordinary individuals and superheroes. Ultron was aware of this, and as a result, he maintained an advantage. Ultron's backhand, indeed, was quite appalling. Currently, the creature remained confined within an underground military facility in a state of confusion. A significant amount of tranquilizers were prescribed 3 times daily to effectively manage the situation. Unfortunately, today, there was an accident. The door to the Abomination's room was securely locked by Ultron, preventing anyone from gaining access. Despite their best efforts, administering a tranquilizer proved to be futile. They could only observe as the creature rose to its feet and leisurely stretched its body. Abomination had been set loose. The alloy gate, once constructed with great precision by the military, was intended to serve as a secure enclosure for containing abominations. However, it has now transformed into a stronghold for these abominations. When Abomination lost control of the tranquilizer, Ultron regained control of the alloy gate and opened it once again. Clearly, Ultron had a desire for Abomination to cause chaos. Abomination didn't give it much thought. His sole focus at the moment was locating Hulk and engaging in another battle. It appears that an individual managed to escape from prison and has begun a killing spree originating from an underground military base. Then, he hurried all the way to New York City. The creature that regained its freedom was careless this time. He displayed an impressive level of strength and power, effortlessly toppling every vehicle in his path. The exact number of innocent lives lost remains uncertain. Abomination ruthlessly took lives as it made its way to the New York Bridge, unleashing a horrifying massacre. Tony Stark quickly made his way to the New York Bridge upon receiving the news, only to be confronted with the horrifying sight of a monstrous creature wreaking havoc on vehicles and buildings. Then, as expected, there was a significant altercation. To confront the monstrous threat, Tony unveiled a previously unseen weapon, the formidable anti-Hulk armor. With his expertise and skill, Tony swiftly subdued Abomination, delivering a relentless barrage of blows. Eventually, the Abomination surrendered and lost all motivation. Nevertheless, when Tony managed to overcome the Abomination, he did not receive the applause of the crowd but rather faced criticism and interrogation. "Tony, please refrain from acting as if you are a hero. You seem to have a self-centered perspective. Had the technology of the Iron Man suit been made available to the public, this unfortunate incident could have been completely avoided. Will we appreciate and commend you? You do not deserve to be recognized as a hero at all. You seem hesitant to share your Iron Man suit technology. You seem concerned that another individual might emerge and overshadow your accomplishments. We don't have to engage in this rescue scenario once more. We require someone who is highly skilled and reliable, not a superhero who arrives after it's too late." Tony was taken aback by the harsh criticism around him. He found himself questioning his actions for the first time. He was an exceptional individual. He battled against wrongdoers who caused harm to the innocent. Didn't he deserve applause? Why? What led these individuals to become who they are today? Tony was unable to find a solution to the question. Disregarding their presence, he soared into the sky wearing his state-of-the-art Iron Man suit. Furthermore, this matter was extensively covered by the media across the entire country. Curiously, whenever Tony made an appearance in the past, he would receive accolades from the media and the public. However, even those media outlets have now joined the chorus of individuals criticizing superheroes. The individual who rescued the world continues to exhibit self-centered behavior and irrational actions. The Abomination resurfaced, resulting in a devastating loss of over 1,000 lives. If individuals possessed the ability to safeguard themselves, the current situation would not be as dire as it currently stands. Do superheroes possess a strong moral compass, or do they derive satisfaction from their role as saviors? Tony's actions were no longer admired by the headlines of many media channels. Instead, they started to appeal to the online community's perspective, questioning whether superheroes would be willing to share their powers. After all, who hasn't dreamed of becoming a superhero? Regarding the military, no statement has been issued thus far. Maybe the current perception on the internet aligns with the objectives of these military forces. If the public's opinion could be leveraged to compel those superheroes to share their power, it is undeniable that the military would reap the greatest advantages. This storm was caused by Ultron. Thanks to the involvement of dedicated individuals, the situation was steadily growing in scale. With this event, everything was thrown into chaos. The parade was a hallmark of the United States. There is a wide variety of parades that take place in the United States on a regular basis. This time, the scale of the United States parade was incredibly massive. A significant number of residents enthusiastically participated in the parade, filling the streets of major cities across the United States with a vibrant display of people marching. The objective of this parade, as expressed by the participants, was to ensure fairness. To effectively influence the superheroes, it is important to encourage them to distribute their power in a way that promotes fairness. This time, it was a challenging test for the superheroes. In previous times, the adversaries of superheroes consisted of villains and criminals. However, this particular instance involved ordinary individuals. The individuals who were meant to be safeguarded by superheroes in this instance ended up opposing them and becoming their adversaries. Given the formidable adversary, the superheroes found themselves at a loss on how to combat this conflict. Below the Stark Tower, the streets were bustling with a multitude of people parading through. They passionately chanted the slogan, "Superheroes cannot be selfish," and assertively surrounded the Stark Tower. Tony Stark, observing the crowd below, displayed a rare sense of vulnerability. Regardless of the formidable opponent, he fearlessly confronted them. In the original book, he fearlessly confronted Thanos, fully aware of the potential consequences, and ultimately made a decisive move by snapping his finger. However, in this particular instance, he felt completely overwhelmed and uncertain about how to handle the large number of people before him. Spider-Man Peter Parker, deciding to distance himself from the constant scrutiny of public opinion, made the choice to leave his home. He opted for a different attire this time, donning the handcuffs provided by the military. He would be taken to conduct a range of research projects in return for ensuring his Aunt May's well-being. Upon exiting the residence, Peter Parker encountered a group of individuals who approached him with an intense fervor, reminiscent of zombies, all vying for the power within him. At this moment, Peter Parker, who had rarely faced any setbacks, was feeling utterly disheartened. The manipulation of people's greed was a powerful weapon, one that struck fear into the hearts of superheroes. Ultron, leveraging the power of public opinion generated by the internet, delivered a harsh lesson to the superheroes. The fierce resistance mounted by Ultron against superheroes had a significant effect. The superhero's halo was nearly shattered by the overwhelming force. Recently, superheroes went from being highly regarded to being seen as insignificant in no time at all. Individuals were highly motivated to exploit their abilities due to the allure of material gain. Now, they no longer discuss superheroes battling crime, but they are unable to defend themselves. Nevertheless, this was merely the initial phase of Ultron's scheme. Ultron viewed those superheroes who were now oppressed by public opinion as nothing more than troublesome, and he didn't even see them as powerful opponents. What truly unsettled Ultron and instilled fear in him was the presence of Naruto, a human who wielded godlike power on Earth. Ultron was fully aware that Naruto posed a significant obstacle to his plans of eradicating humanity. Unless Naruto is resolved, wiping out humanity remains nothing more than a mere joke. Thus, Ultron meticulously strategized to orchestrate such a grand spectacle. Otherwise, he would have behaved similarly to the original storyline. He would have engaged superheroes in battle with utmost skill and expertise. Will you continue to protect the Earth, even after being seen as a threat to society? Ultron seemed eager for the opportunity. In the realm of the internet, Ultron reigned supreme as the master of manipulating public opinion. During the previous internet storm against superheroes, there were individuals who tried to voice their opinions, but unfortunately, their efforts were futile. Ultron had complete control over manipulating people's perception of reality. Following Spider-Man's announcement of collaborating with the military to conduct research and develop a serum derived from his blood, other superheroes found themselves in a state of dismay. Dr. Banner also pursued a similar path as Peter Parker. He, a scientist, struggled to confront the immense public opinion. Out of the Fantastic Four, 3 members had already made it known that they were willing to collaborate with the military, while Human Torch remained defiant. The living conditions of mutants deteriorated further, and in certain underdeveloped nations, individuals even resorted to publicly consuming mutants. Individuals were equally enthusiastic and driven to acquire what they referred to as extraordinary abilities. At this moment, the world was in utter disarray, just when it seemed like the era of aspiring superheroes was on the rise. Recent revelations have caused individuals to question the credibility of superheroes. There was someone incredibly exceptional on this earth. He effortlessly defeated the key members of the Brotherhood of Mutants. His impressive flying speed could surpass the sound barrier. The energy emanating from his body was incredibly powerful, like a force of nature. He displayed exceptional skill and expertise during the intense battle in New York City. In the incident involving the Red Hulk, he effortlessly defeated his opponent, who was on par with Hulk. Confronted with such formidable combat prowess, the general public was abruptly enlightened to the fact that these so-called superheroes were, in reality, mere individuals of ordinary stature. Simultaneously, they were astonished by the presence of such an extraordinary being on Earth. And then there was an overwhelming desire for more. Were they able to attain the power of such a deity? Superheroes had relinquished their powers and chosen to cooperate. So why didn't this deity do the same? Public perception has the potential to render superheroes powerless. Why wasn't it suitable for dealing with the deity of the Earth? When individuals employ a strategy to gain advantages, rather than coming together, they would utilize this approach to maximize their benefits. As an illustration, at this very moment, public sentiment has shifted dramatically, with Naruto becoming the target of widespread criticism. Many individuals reached out to Naruto online, seeking his expertise and assistance. He should consider donating his blood for research purposes, like a true professional. Otherwise, Naruto would be seen as a self-centered individual and a contradictory savior, resulting in widespread disdain from the public. Of course, Naruto couldn't help but be deeply affected by such a significant issue. Right from the start of the incident, he observed something. However, Naruto was taken by surprise when he realized that this incident would have a personal impact on him. Upon browsing the internet, numerous individuals expressed their discontent towards him for his self-centered actions, some even resorting to leaving menacing messages. From the vantage point of the manor, a large crowd had assembled and encircled the premises. Naruto displayed a strong determination and intense desire to overcome his adversaries. Hela approached Naruto and observed the individuals gathered outside the manor. "Would you be interested in visiting Asgard for a period of time?" Hela inquired of Naruto. Hela understood that Naruto had a strong aversion to complications, but the situation he found himself in this time was undoubtedly the most significant challenge he had encountered thus far. Upon hearing Hela's words, Naruto shook his head. "I will remain in this location. I'm going to see what they're going to do." Naruto spoke with a detached tone. The individuals outside had an intimidating and distant gaze. Indeed, Naruto was aware that there had to be someone orchestrating this incident. Someone began with the superhero thing, and gradually, this matter escalated, ultimately having a negative impact on him. From the very start, he was targeted by a hidden force pulling the strings. Curious to uncover the true intentions of the mysterious figure pulling the strings, Naruto embarked on a quest to unveil their plans. Incidentally, Naruto was curious to witness the abilities of these individuals. The situation outside Naruto's manor and the public opinion about him on the internet had become widely known. Nick Fury was well aware of the situation, but unfortunately, he was unable to take any action. Nick Fury remained motionless in S.H.I.E.L.D. His gaze lacked vibrancy. He was uncertain about how to address this issue at the moment. It was impossible for him, as the director of S.H.I.E.L.D., to control the overwhelming storm of public opinion. Nick Fury was confident that Naruto would never be apathetic. When the conflict escalated, it was uncertain what the outcome would be. Nick Fury diligently implemented a series of precautionary measures, ensuring every detail was accounted for. He dialed the number of the president and was quickly connected. "I am Nick Fury," the black braised egg stated in a professional manner, revealing his identity. "Is there an issue? If it's for funding, I will end the call." The president's tone conveyed a sense of impatience. It seems that he was quite dissatisfied with the black braised egg. "Sir, it is imperative that you are made aware of the current situation at Naruto's residence. I strongly believe that immediate action is necessary. Our approach needs to be more stringent. This situation cannot continue any longer. That is the deity of the earth. It would be unwise to view him as our adversary." Nick Fury shared his utmost concern with the president. His greatest concern at the moment was the potential for Naruto to become a formidable adversary as a result of this unfortunate incident. An individual lacking ethical boundaries, the consequences of such a scenario would be incredibly catastrophic. If Nick Fury held the highest office, he would undoubtedly take swift action to quell any uprising, regardless of the potential casualties. When it came to provoking Naruto, the number of casualties was seen as a favorable outcome. It's simply that the president had a different opinion. Rest assured, my friend, even the most powerful beings hesitate to challenge the god of the earth. Is he still able to engage in conflict with others? Is he no longer interested in residing on Earth? Even the most skilled individual cannot combat the prevailing public sentiment, as the evidence has clearly demonstrated. The president said with a lack of interest. Clearly, he did not approach this matter with the necessary level of professionalism. The president eagerly anticipated the day when he would achieve a level of power and influence akin to that of a deity. Nevertheless, Nick Fury experienced a chilling sensation that coursed through his entire being. He had a different perspective than the president, and he believed that Naruto would not be swayed by public opinion. In addition, Naruto was not your typical superhero, and his emotions were not bound by conventional morality. "It's just that, sir." The president's phone call had been abruptly ended, and it seemed that all hope was lost. Ultimately, Nick Fury could only helplessly observe the unfolding of the situation from his seat. At Naruto's manor, a group of individuals with extreme views had initiated an assault on the property. They quickly approached the gate of Naruto's manor and began forcefully striking the iron gate. Some individuals went to great lengths to gain access to the manor, even scaling the wall. Upon entering the manor, they proceeded to damage the plants and various artistic statues within. These individuals shared a common belief that their numbers granted them mastery over this world. Even during daylight hours, Naruto would never consider taking their lives. Otherwise, Naruto would be portrayed as a character with negative intentions rather than a hero. Indeed, if he truly possessed the same level of villainous prowess as Jean, these individuals would not have the audacity to act recklessly. Due to Jean's violent tendencies, they pose a serious threat to others. However, Naruto, being the exceptional hero that he was, would never do such a thing. How do superheroes cause harm to others? Observing the individuals who caused chaos in the manor and the individuals who hurried towards the manor in great numbers, Naruto's gaze grew increasingly distant until he let out a weary sigh. Naruto let out a deep sigh, not for his own sake, but for the individuals around him, due to their impending demise. At a critical moment, as an intruder approached Naruto's inner manor, Naruto confidently positioned himself on the balcony of the second floor and unleashed a powerful heat ray from his eyes. As expected, the intense heat rays struck the group that had forcefully entered. Then, in a calm and controlled manner, the mob was reduced to ashes. Quiet. The previously bustling manor immediately hushed to complete stillness. All eyes were fixed on the spot where the crowd had vanished, instilling a profound sense of dread in everyone's hearts. Nick Fury was filled with frustration as he witnessed the chaotic scene unfolding before him on the screen. He had a strong intuition that something terrible was about to occur. With all eyes on him, Naruto gracefully ascended into the air. He stood out among the crowd. He glanced at those faces that were surprised, scared, or upset, with a mocking chuckle. What is it about me that gives everyone the impression that I possess superhuman abilities? Why is it that everyone here seems to doubt my ability to eliminate you? In that case, I will demonstrate that you are mistaken." The tone of Naruto's voice was extremely professional, leaving everyone with an unsettling feeling as if they were descending into a place of great discomfort. The following events intensified the desperation felt by everyone. Due to the intense heat emitted from Naruto's eyes, he confidently directed his gaze towards the crowd. Many individuals who were affected by the intense heat ray were instantly incinerated. A tragic event. Naruto had begun eliminating the mob. Naruto lacked compassion. He would never hesitate when confronting the adversary. Otherwise, he would not have efficiently eliminated all the creatures in the entire heaven. As usual, this time was no different. Naruto showed no restraint whatsoever. He showed no compassion towards those who gathered outside his manor and eliminated them all. In the past, Naruto believed that humanity should fear him. However, Naruto discovered that he had made a mistake. Fear in humanity would vanish through knowledge and be replaced by avarice. Only rigorous techniques could ensure that they remember that fear completely. For this occasion, Naruto chose to assert his dominance and instill fear by defeating his opponents. He wanted to make it clear that he possessed the skills and had the capability to eliminate anyone. As soon as Naruto initiated the violent rampage, the crowd outside Naruto's manor fell into chaos. They were filled with fear and desperation as they desperately tried to flee from Naruto's devastating assault. They came to appreciate the incredible abilities of the superheroes, who compelled their admiration. In a similar scenario, the superheroes refrained from reprimanding the crowd. They were different from Naruto, who immediately resorted to killing. Meanwhile, in a country called Sokovia, Ultron, who had constructed a formidable metal frame, observed Naruto's lethal actions with a sense of contentment. What about the deity associated with the earth? I carefully assessed him. In addition, considering Naruto's current situation with others, he likely has little time to concern himself with my matters. Let's get the plan underway. Ultron spoke in a detached manner. The cold, calculated sound he emitted initiated a ticking clock for the people of Earth, signaling their impending demise. Then, the residents of Sokovia were deeply disturbed to witness the ground tearing apart. Approximately half of the country gradually ascended and continued to soar into the sky. Even while exploring the internet, Ultron remained focused on his mission to exterminate humanity. He planned to elevate this expansive piece of land to an impressive height of several thousand meters. Then, he would forcefully slam this expansive piece of land onto the ground. Similar to the cataclysmic event that led to the demise of the dinosaurs millions of years ago, his intention was to employ a comparable approach to eradicate all forms of life on the planet's surface. Wasn't removing humanity the only solution to save the planet? During the critical moment when Ultron posed a grave threat to the planet, Naruto was still engaged in combat. With a complete lack of compassion, he showed no mercy to those individuals. Right now, a person suddenly appeared and intercepted Naruto. It was Tony Stark, the renowned Iron Man. Currently, Tony donned an unusual set of armor. The suit's color combination of black and blue gave him a serious and professional appearance. This was the armor developed by Tony Stark in secret. That's enough. Naruto, no more killing. These individuals were influenced by someone. They are not the ones to blame. Tony approached Naruto and addressed him. Upon hearing Tony's words, Naruto ceased his actions, yet the intensity of his murderous gaze remained unaltered. It was unwise of you to attempt to intervene. Do you recall the way these individuals defamed you in the past? Naruto told Tony in a stern manner that he was not interested in hearing from anyone at the moment. Tony's expression turned sour. Clearly, he hadn't forgotten. However, he possessed exceptional abilities. He was required to present himself in front of the audience, regardless of their past actions. Thus, despite the potential consequences of antagonizing someone as formidable as Naruto, he remained resolute and unwavering in his determination. Stay tuned for more. And that's a wrap, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into this video. If you enjoyed it, I appreciate your support. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more content. Looking forward to seeing you in the next video.